you kind of have to lead by example. So it's like, if you're over here and no one's really doing it, you're just like, eh. But then if you're a kid and then your parents are like, hey, they're picking up that piece of trash. They're saying hi to people. They're helping out, other people. Do you think that can have an effect on how it is too?
I think it's important to leave your small town to get to know other points of view or how other people are and get used to other things.
I was mad and I was like, this is how the season is gonna go. We're gonna lose all the games. I'm a horrible coach. I can't. The 9-0, 9-1, that's horrible. But as the season started to go, I was just starting my mentality is gonna affect them. As a coach, if I think like that, they're gonna think like that.
Underrated, we the underdogs, underestimated.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Totem Podcast. I'm your host, Monico Carrillo, but of course, we got here Eric.
How are you guys doing? As always, guys, remember to click subscribe and like today's video. Especially if you guys like today's guest, make sure to just give the video a thumbs up and just subscribe. That way you can be notified every single time we got a new episode up. We're trying to start dropping them more regularly. So every Monday, be on the lookout for them. But yeah, guys, if you guys learn something of today's guest, if you guys find some value in it, if you guys like it, please share it with at least one other person.
No, but yeah, so it's the motto that we have. Eric, do you want to tell them our motto?
Our motto here on the podcast is that an act of rebellion is to question.
And the guest we have today, Eric, I like it because we're a younger generation, and we have to be, I believe, doing impactful stuff in our communities to make it a better community, better atmosphere, for everybody. So, Javi, welcome to the show.
Hello, thank you guys for having me. I'm very happy to be here and hope the people out there could learn something from me today.
Yeah, no, that's great. I mean, all the stuff you're doing, we're talking earlier about all the stuff.
Especially we preach if you guys want to be on the show, just reach out, hit us up, and then you actually took us up on the offer, and so people can see we actually do want to have more people on. Don't be afraid to just hop on and just send us that message.
Yeah. I sent them the message. You didn't wait to respond. You responded right away. Let's get you in here, and I'm very happy about that. I feel honored to be here today.
Yeah, no, that's great. So, I mean, for the people that don't know you, just give us a brief background of your childhood. Let's start with your childhood, and then we'll get a little bit into what you do.
Yeah, well, like they said, my name is Javi Lomeli. I'm 20 years old, and a little bit about my childhood is I grew up here in Fort Morgan. I was born here as well, so I spent most of my time here in Fort Morgan. Didn't move once. Really liked the small little city, small little town. I would just spend my time playing outside. I feel lucky that I wasn't born in a generation where I was just sticking inside on my phone. I was still outside playing with my neighbors. I was always staying busy with soccer and just hanging out with friends.
So as you're growing up, you grew up here in Fort Morgan. Was there someone maybe in your that you grew up with, but maybe your dad or someone around you that had an impact on you, that you're just that kind of transition that you want to help do other stuff too?
Yeah, my parents were always around. Sometimes it was hard because they would work. So, Hispanic parents, their focus is going out and working, so that way we could have stuff on the table. So the majority of the time I spent time with my cousins. I would go to my cousin's house while our parents were out working. We would just go out and play. And I had an uncle. One of my uncles is a coach, and I spent a lot of time with him as well. We would go on vacations, spend a lot of time outside of Fort Morgan as well. And I would just see the love he had for soccer and the love he had for coaching, and he's one of the persons that impacted me to be a coach.
So when you're, I'm just kind of thinking to kind of go chronological. So who were you in high school a little bit? Because you said your uncle was he would coach you and stuff, but who were you in high school? Were you the athletic guy, the quiet guy? How's that?
Yeah, I try to not be the quiet guy. I played soccer all 4 years. I was involved in LULAC. One of the things I regret the most is not playing other sports. I put all my focus in soccer, and I just stood around my soccer friends. So I was that was my group. You know, I wasn't like out with other groups, with other friends. You know, yeah, I would get along with anybody, but I would just stick more to my soccer friends. And I was involved at that. During high school, I worked with Kids at Their Best, so I was heavily active in the community. I was in LULAC. I was an officer for LULAC, so I would be busy with events and all that.
What is LULAC? What do they do?
LULAC is League of United Latin American Citizens, and one of LULAC's mission is to be a support for the Hispanic community. And especially here in Fort Morgan, we have a high population of Hispanics. So the LULAC at the high school focused a little bit more of inside the high school, like the Hispanic community inside the high school. So we would do events, you know, we would raise money, we would sell stuff, we would be a strong support at the high school.
Yeah, just hearing you, like we're pretty similar when we're in high school, because like I would always like get along with everybody. Like I'd do like football, basketball, I'd mainly try and focus on football, but then it's like you know everybody, but then you kind of don't at the same time. But like earlier you were saying that it's like you're grateful that you grew up in the generation that's not on their phones all the time. Like how important do you think that was, or that is, I guess?
I think it's very important because it helped me meet people. It helped me actually be social with people. You know, I would go out with to the school, and I wouldn't be scared to meet someone new. Like, oh, what's up? Like, yeah, this is what I like to do. This is this. I wouldn't be scared. And I feel like if I would have been born into the generation with technology, I would be scared to go outside. You know, be scared to meet someone new. And that's why
So do you think kids like now, as they're growing up, not just kids, I mean adults too, they're too much maybe on their fucking phone, that they're kind of scared to go up and talk to somebody else, like have a conversation?
Yeah, absolutely. And I've seen it, and I still see it. You know, like I mentioned, I coach little kids, and I still see the struggles that technology has caused them. I work with kids, and I see it. I see it all the time, not just with children, but with adults too. And yeah, it's just something I feel like they say we have to get used to, but I feel like it's something that we don't need to make it like normal to do, you know. Just break it.
According to whose metrics? That's like you have to get used to it. Like, well, who's saying we have to get used to it? Like, according to whose metrics? But it's funny, like you were saying, the little kids. So I mean, we did a podcast a couple weeks ago. We're talking about my daughter, that I pay her for having, you know, for reading books.
For reading books.
And the whole thing, it was fucking funny. So I was like, dude. She broke her tablet, you know. She read enough books to get a tablet. So like, cool, bought her a tablet. Like, dude, I'm gonna fucking use this against her. Like, hey, she doesn't want to do something. Like, dude, I'm not gonna let you use her tablet. So she was doing something. Oh, she didn't clean her room. And I was like, hey, did you clean your room already? She's like, no. I was like, well, cool. You're not gonna use your tablet then. You know, you can't use your tablet till you clean your room. I don't care. I didn't say I wanted to use my tablet. I don't want to use that thing. So I was just like, fuck. You know, it's because usually the kids, you tell them that, like, you're not going to use your tablet, and they freak out. And she's just like,
cool.
Fuck it. I don't care. Take it. And I was just like, what the fuck? You know, like inside of me, I'm just like, I need to find something else now to take away.
Take away your books.
I need to take your books now. Shit.
Well, I think it's important though, because like if you just see like how like the society moving forward is, it's like much more like technology based, much more technology reliant. I feel like there's like a fine line that you gotta like balance technology with still being active and going outside and being like a regular kid. But I feel like that's hard for people to figure out right now.
Yeah, and I'm not saying it's bad, you know, to use technology. There's a lot of apps, there's a lot of websites that they teach you stuff, you know. We're just saying, like you said, find the balance, you know. You could be on your laptop, on your tablet, but find time to go outside and just make some sandcastles like we used to do before, even with some hard dirt, like, you know, make it work. Put some water in it.
Yeah.
Make it work.
And I feel like a little bit of like that's just like leading into like a little bit of like more like kids being overweight and like obese and stuff. Like, I don't know, like you work with kids all the time. Do you see like kids more like that now, or is it just like they've always been like that and now you're just kind of, I'm just trying to put a label on it or something?
Yeah, no, it's something that's being seen a lot right now. And like I mentioned, I coach for Northern Colorado Rush up in Greeley. And
this is soccer?
Yeah, soccer. Okay. I coach soccer with them. It's a competitive league, club. And that's why I always enforce how important youth sports are. Because we're seeing a lot of obesity in kids, not just adults, you know, in kids. And people questioning, like, why is my kid, growing some weight? You know, so one of the reasons is because they're staying inside just on their tablets. You know, they need to go out. And that's why I always advocate for trying youth sports.
I think some of it too has to be with the culture, the Mexican culture. That like, oh, you got your tortillas, you got your beans, and all that. It's just like a bunch of food that kids are like eating, and they're not really. Parents don't really teach portion control. They're like, oh, you want more? You're still hungry?
Yeah.
Eat some more.
And it's hard.
Full disclaimer: tortillas are fucking good.
Yeah. That's the part. That's like the part. It's good. Even as adults, like you guys.
Yeah.
Say I'm not wrong. Like it's hard. Like Mexican food. You have a plate of Mexican food. You're gonna eat it. You see another great Mexican dish. Like, oh, I'm full, but that looks so good. You know, I'm gonna eat it. You know.
Or maybe like you say you're in college. You're more on your food stuff, and then you come home and your mom's just like, cool meal, come here. I got you all this. She got the buffet laid out for you.
I've been sitting in a long time. I made you your favorite food, your favorite dessert. You know,
just like shit.
Crap. And it's.
I guess. I'll sacrifice myself.
I have to break my diet, I guess.
Yeah, that's funny, dude. But yeah, I think it's a lot to do, like you said, the Hispanic culture.
Yeah, so, and it's something you see, like, even with, like, coaching my kids. It's, you know, I have Hispanic kids, you know, non-Hispanic kids, and you see it. You know, you see it, like, he comes to practice, and like, oh, coach, I just got out of school, and I just ate a big torta. And I'm like, oh, my God. And there comes other non-Hispanic kid, and they're like, yeah, I haven't ate today, you know, I had to come to practice, you know, I can't wait to go eat some raviolis after. I was like, oh.
But then it's just me poking at the bear, but then I don't think it's just Hispanic kids that are fatter. I think it's everybody. Mm-hmm. I think it's everybody. Like, I mean, you still got your fucking sloppy joes and Fritos and shit, you know? So it's like you still got the white kids are getting out of it.
I just like to poke at like the Mexican culture because I'm Mexican, so like we know, like I know firsthand that shit's hard.
Yeah, it's really hard.
But so have you had any like? So are you like the head coach or like how is it like?
Yeah, I'm the head coach. I coach a U9, so they're 9 years old.
Okay.
Yeah, so they're very young.
So I was gonna say, since you're the head coach, do you have any like maybe? I feel like they're around. You get the parents that are just like, hey, you're pushing my son too hard, like, you know. Because I don't know if you've seen that video that's out there. It's like, I fucking love it. Some guy, you know which one?
The T-ball team?
Yeah, the T-ball team is like,
oh, yeah.
He's telling the kids, he's like, hey, in this life, there's winners and then there's losers. If your kids are telling you, if your parents are telling you, I'll love you just how the way you are, I don't care if you lose. He's like, if your dad's telling you that, your dad's a fucking loser. Like, do you get parents coming across like, hey, man, I just want the boy to have fun. But then you're just like, yeah, we're going to have fun, but we got to get after it. We got to work for it, too. Is it, or how's that with you?
If I'm being honest, I used to coach rec before I coached competitive. That's something I would see in rec. Like, you're pushing my kid too much. Like, you're making him run. You know, I'm just bringing him here to have a good time, to kick a ball around. You're pushing him way too much. You're expecting way too much of a kid. But competitive, I think it's the opposite. You know, at the end of the season, we're not required to do this, but I do it. It's a coach evaluation forms. Like, what am I doing right? What am I doing wrong? You know, this last season, they told me, you're not pushing our kids too much. So I'm like, competitive. Like, I come from rec where they're telling me, you know, you're pushing them too much. You're making them run too much. And I come to competitive and they're telling me, you know, I want you to make them run a little bit more, you know? I want you to.
Why do you think that is?
You know, I think rec, and I'm not talking about rec soccer, but I think rec, the parents, how they see rec is more of like a babysitting. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I'm going to put my kids in there, spend some time, you know, while I go do some chores, while I go to my business, you know, an hour and a half, I'll come back. And, you know, I don't want you to push them too much, but just like take care of them for a bit. Competitive is, you know, they pay for that. I want my kid to be good at the sport. I want them to learn life skills. I want them to be good, you know? So it's like, I put them here so they can be more disciplined. So I think that's the difference between rec and competitive. Parents see it differently.
Because there's also like levels of competitive, right? Because there's like competitive, but they're like kind of like beginner type stuff, and then like other like levels of competitive too, I'm guessing.
Yeah. So the competitive level I coach is like the front range. So it's not too competitive like the older kids, you know. So I still make them run. I still push them to the fullest, but not as much as I would to a middle schooler or high schooler.
Because they're 9.
Yeah, they're 9.
Okay.
They're 9. So at the same time, I want them to have fun playing soccer, but at the same time, I want them to be in condition to play and learn the sport and be disciplined.
And what do you prefer to coach? Like rec or competitive?
Competitive.
Why?
I feel like in rec, you can't do what you want to do. You know, you have to follow the city's rules. You have to follow the policies. You know, you can't make them run too much. You can't yell at them. You know, you can't make them do this. In competitive, you know, you're the coach. You do what you need to do. Obviously, don't kill them, push them to the point where you can't anymore. But like, you know what to do, and you do what you need to do. And I feel like coaching competitive makes me discipline them more. And when I say yelling, I don't mean like yelling like, you know, like, oh, like you suck, you know what I mean? It's just like, you know, go get the ball, you know. You understand the difference between yelling and actually like disciplining them.
It's like shouting and yelling.
Yeah. Like,
that's what my mom would say when she would fucking chase me with the belt too, bro. It's for your good, bro.
That's how I talk. That's how I talk. So yeah, that's rec soccer took away like, and I played rec. I didn't have the opportunity to play competitive soccer as a child, and I wish I did because in rec I wasn't pushed to play how I was. You know, they're like, oh, you didn't do that. It's okay. Go sit down. Go drink water. You know, I wish I was pushed. And yeah, that's why I prefer.
So I mean, so who sets these fucking guidelines? Like, say for rec, like for competitive, you say you kind of have the parents pretty much telling you like, hey, we need Johnny over here to start running some more, you know. But in like rec, like who sets the boundaries? Like, you pushing them too hard.
The city, the director, and I'm not talking bad about the director of the city. You know, I'm very good friends with the director. I love what he's doing, but I feel like, and it's not even just here in Fort Morgan, it's just every city. I feel like the rec department they just have like a policy, just for general policy that, you know, don't push them too much. In Greeley, I coached rec in Greeley also. They're like, you can't make them run at all, not one lap.
Really?
Yeah, and that's why we've had players come from rec to our club, and like I came here because, you know, over there they don't even make them run. You know, they don't play them. You know what I mean? Like, they don't play my kid, they don't make them run. They don't push them. So that's why I'm coming to competitive.
It's supposed to be more fun, more for everybody to get kind of like a turn.
More inclusive, Eric.
More inclusive.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, and I feel like rec, you know, if obviously growing up, like I forgot what the youngest is to join rec, but rec is good for like, you know, you don't know how to kick a ball. I'm gonna join rec, you know, learn those
Just
basic
to fuck around,
skills.
just to
like,
show up and mess around.
Yeah,
you know?
show up, mess around, you know, grow up. But I feel like if you want to play soccer, like in high school or professionally, my advice would be don't stay in rec all the time. You know, find that competitive club and find it so they could push you. Find it so you could be prepared. So when you go into high school or even play college.
How'd you get started in coaching? I'm just curious because like I've like kind of thought about it too a little bit, like maybe down the road or something. But how'd you get started?
So it was going through my head junior year. You know, junior year is when you start thinking, you know, I'm almost graduating. You know, what am I gonna do with my life? You know, like, do I go to college? Do I work? Like, I don't know what I'm doing. My junior year, I didn't know what the hell I was doing. Like, actually, like,
it's
junior year.
I'm 28. I'm 28 and I still don't know what the fuck I'm doing.
Senior year, I was like, I'm almost graduating. I don't even know what college I'm going to. I'm lost. But junior year, it was like, I would hear people saying like, I want to play college soccer. I want to play college professional soccer. I want to continue playing even for a men's league. You know, and I would just stay quiet. You know, I didn't say that. Why? Because in the back of my head, I've always considered myself a leader. I've always wanted to help. And during high school, I'm like, you know, I want to coach. You know, I know the sport. I played it in high school. I want to help those younger kids who don't know how, you know, be good. You know, and it came to my head once. I was like, I want to coach soccer. So I coached rec, and after that, I fell in love with coaching. You know, this is, you know, my dream, You know, it'd be cooler to be a professional soccer player, play college soccer, you know, but I want to coach. Like, I want to be more than a player. I want to be there for the kids. I want to be there, you know, for them. And yeah, and like I said, one of my main impacts was my uncle. He was my high school coach, my uncle. And
did he coach the high school team then?
Yeah, he still coaches.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, he was there from sophomore year all the way till I graduated. And he pushed me the same. You know, he pushed me the same. And I would hear people be like, he's your uncle, you know, he's going to give you preferences. He's going to, you know, you're not going to run. No, he pushed me. He pushed me.
Do you think he pushed you more just because, like, he's your uncle?
Yeah, and there was times where I was like, you know, you're my uncle. And like, you're yelling at me out there. You know, you're like, I come to practice like, oh, hey, Javi. It was like, you know, and family reunion is like, oh, hey, mijo, how are you? You know, it's different. You know, it's different. And I started thinking, like, why is he doing that? He's my uncle.
Yeah.
You know, but as I started playing more, I was like, you know, his job is to be a coach. You know, he's my uncle, but outside of sports. You know what I mean? And I just started to see the love he had for the sport, the love he had for it, the love he had for the players. And, you know, and I hang out with them a lot, and I was like, I want to be like him. And even the assistant coach, like both of them, my assistant coach actually coached me in rec when I was younger. So these two coaches, my high school, they've been with me all my soccer career.
So how long did it take you from, like you said, my uncle's pushing me too much, to actually realize, like, hey, I need him to push me? Were you at the beginning just like, man, fuck this guy? Like, dude, he makes me run 2 laps, or he's expecting more, and these guys just run 1 lap. Like, was there a time where you're like, I feel like there probably had to be a time where you're just like, dude, like, this guy just pushing me way more than everybody else, or talking shit to me more than. When did you realize, like, hey, he's actually trying to make me better?
Yeah, I actually realized pretty soon, like, it was half of the season. Half of the season, I was, like I mentioned, I was like, why is he doing this to me? You know, he's being different. And I was captain the 4 years. So I was like,
so you did have preference then, huh?
That's what they said. You know, captains were voted on by the players. So, and it was half the season. Like I said, I was like, you know, he's pushing me. Like I don't feel like, you know, he's not being like my uncle right now. You know what I mean? He's being like a stranger. But then half of the season, I was like, in midway of the season, I was like, you know, like I'm actually seeing the difference. You know, like if I wasn't pushed, if he babied me, like, oh, you're my nephew, like, just don't run, you know, get some water while they run, you know, the hard drills, don't do it, don't worry. Like, I wouldn't be disciplined enough. I wouldn't be a coach right now, you know, because I would see soccer as a fun little pastime, you know. So I'm actually very grateful now that he pushed me in.
Where do you think that, like, leadership trait comes from? You said, like, you always thought you were more of, like, a leader. Because I have, like, a theory that's, like, because, like, our parents are, like, Mexican, they, like, came over and they came with nothing and built something of themselves and, like, something for us. I feel like something that has something to do with it and, like, how we are today.
Yeah, you know, and I thought about this, too. I was like, you know, what made me want to be out in the community as well? And I've just always been like that. Like, I've always been like that. If you ask any of my family members, anybody who knows me, I've always wanted to help. So growing up, I was 11 years old. And it's actually pretty funny because the people at my job, like, they laugh when they remember my first application. I was, like, 12. I called them. And then I was like...
To where?
Kids at Their Best.
Okay.
I called Kids at Their Best. I was 12. I was like, you know, I want a job. You know, this is this. My boss was like... She thought I was a 27-year-old. She was like,
really?
Why does a 27-year-old want to come work with kids? Like, and I filled out my application, and he's like, we're going to see what this 27-year-old wants. You know, let's interview him. Yeah. I show up, and they're like, oh, are you here for an interview? I was like, yeah. What's your name? I'm Javi. He's like, are you the one that called? Yeah. I was like, yeah. He's like, we thought you were a 27-year-old. And I was like,
did they ever ask your age, or they just assumed?
No, they just assumed. And because of the way I express myself in the call.
How you carry yourself?
Yeah, and then I interviewed, and they're like, wow, this interview, like, you're 12, you know, you're 12, you're like, yeah, I want to work, you know, that typical interview, like, yeah, I want to work, you know, I want to make money. you know. But my interview was
Why do you want to work here?
Yeah, like why do you want to work here?
I want to make money.
Yeah, I want to make money. Like I want to buy some chips. You know, my parents don't give me money anymore. Mine was way more than that. You know, I want to give to my community. You know, and the way I see this, and it's a motto I live by day, is the rent we pay on earth is a service we give to others. You know, I grew up in this community. Can
you say that again? What is it? The rent?
The rent we pay on earth is the service we give to others. That's the motto I live by. You know.
Did you come up with it, or did you hear some
No,
stuff
I heard
somewhere?
it, and I was just, you know, that typical TikTok scrolling, and I paused and I heard them, and I was like, this really relates to me, you know, because like I said, I grew up here, I was born here, like might as well give something back to the community, you know, who gave me all this love, you know. That's what we're supposed to do as humans. That's what this world will be much better if we all do that, you know. If we all serve others, you know, worry about less about, and that's something about me, you know. Sometimes I worry less about myself. As long as you're happy, as long as I could give, as long as I see you happy, I see you smile, you know, I'm good. You know, that makes me happy.
Yeah.
You know.
No, that's good. That's good stuff.
That's interesting you say that, because like a lot of people, when they're in high school, they're like, dude, I can't wait to leave Morgan, get out of here, and go do something else.
Fuck this place. Everyone talks shit too about it,
yeah.
and a lot of them are back.
But is that how you were? Or were you always kind of like,
No,
I want to leave, but then come back and still give back?
Yeah, no, I love Fort Morgan. Like, people around me tell me that I can't wait to leave. Like, I can't wait. Like, I want to get out of here. And I'm like, no, I have plans for this. I have plans for Fort Morgan. I want to do stuff here still. And I don't know if you guys know, but I actually, my first year of college, I went to Holy Cross College in South Bend, Indiana.
Okay, now I did.
I did not know that.
I left. The application was due the last week of July. I applied a week before the deadline. I got accepted and I left. I left in August. And that was the hardest thing I did. Like, I went without knowing anyone. I knew one person.
Why did you choose to apply there? Because that's all the way over there.
Yeah.
That's far.
If I'm being honest, I don't know.
You don't know?
I don't know. You know, it was a fast thought. Like I said, I didn't know what I wanted to do. And I was like, what am I going to do? One of my friends, he's from Rush. He actually is up there right now. So I was like, I'm going to see the college he's going to. It's only 500 students. It's a small school.
Okay.
So I was like, you know, I like it small. So I want to go to a small school, so I'm going to give it a try. You know, I left. I showed up. He was busy doing his stuff. He was at another campus. So I was alone. You know, I didn't know anyone, like anyone. I would go to campus, and just to tell you, the Hispanic population up there was very low. If in my year that I was up there, if I'm being honest, I only saw about 7 other Hispanics.
Really?
Yeah. And it was like, I wasn't used to it. Here in Fort Morgan, I'm around Hispanics, you know. And I left, I was like, the first thing I thought when I was up there was like, what the hell am I doing here? Like, it's too late now. You know,
that's the same thing I thought too when I went off to college, because I went in Colorado Springs, UCCS, and same thing as you, like I saw no Hispanic people. It was just like all white people, Asians, and a few black people, like no Hispanics.
Yeah, and I was like, I'm not gonna make friends here. Like, it's gonna be hard. You know, I don't know what I'm gonna do. You know, I went to my room, I'm like putting my stuff up. But like, class starts on Monday. I'm not even gonna. It's small, but I'm not gonna get used to it. You know, but. I gave it a chance, and it actually was one of the best decisions I made. You know, I met some great people. I made some great friends, and, you know, sometimes you need to, you know, accept that you're not always going to be around the Hispanics. You're not always going to be around. I have friends who are white. I have friends who are black. You know, we all, like, had different, we were diverse, you know what I mean? And that's one of the best things I had. It was last month. I went back to South Bend and I visited them. That's how close we got. And just because it was just a small community, that we got very used to each other.
So it's important for you to kind of like leave and kind of experience that. Because if people like, because I always say like after graduation or something or whatever, I think it's important to like leave your like small town to get to like know other like points of view or like how other people are and get used to other things. And then if you want, you can come back, whatever. But I think it's important for people to get that kind of perspective.
And I'd even take it maybe like a step further, like you're saying leave your small town, but maybe just a challenge for everybody. Like maybe if you're just in the city, like leave your fucking city and go to like a small town, just like something complete opposite of what you're used to. Like get out of your comfort zone and go somewhere else. Because there might be someone like that's in the city all the time. Like, dude, they have no idea what farming and ranching like even looks like, you know, or what smells like. But I mean,
or people think Colorado they think beautiful mountains and all that stuff. They don't think we're out here just nothing, it's just plains.
Yeah, they're like, you're from Colorado. They're like the first thing.
How's the skiing?
Yeah, they're like, how's the skiing? How's the weed? You know, Colorado. How's the mountains? You know, you're a pro skier. Let's go ski. I'm like, no, like I'm from.
I'm fucking 2 hours from the mountains, bro.
Like, you know, even when we're trying to go up there, the highways are closed. You know, I'm from the part where it's like it's all plain, dry. You know, it's not the mountains.
Yeah, it's different. I
want
to ask you something before the whole thing. You were talking about like ever since you were small, you know, you kind of had this. So do you think leaders are born or they're made?
I feel like it'd be both. You know, a lot of leaders are made though. You know, and I don't know. It's just sometimes you just want to help. You just want to be better. You know, you want to make the community better. You know, but at the same time, I've been a witness of, you know, younger generations who they grew up and they're like, you know, my job is just to like have fun and I don't care about what the community, you know, that's the city's job, that's the government's job, that's the president's job, you know, that's not my job. But I've seen them like, you know, the progress of saying like, okay, maybe I'm wrong. And, you know, I've seen like this person do this and I've seen him happy doing this, you know, I'm going to give it a try. They try it and they become great leaders. And, you know, even with the job, I've been interviewing because we hire, for Kids at Their Best, we hire over 85 teens in our community. And I've been part of the hiring process and I've just seen kids who say, like, this year, kids have been saying, I want to give more to the community. I want to help out. And that surprised me, you know. I was like, because past years, it's just more like, I want to make a little bit more income. I want to, you know, save some money.
Why do you think that is, though?
I feel like we're living in a time where, like, we need people. We need, and, like, the older generation, the author's saying, you know, their mindset is, you know, the younger kids are lost, you know. They're not gonna give anything to this community, you know. They're just little kids who worry about partying or, you know, spending their time on worthless stuff. And I feel like the youth during these days are waking up and they're like, nah, like we're way more than that. You know, we could give back and we're gonna be strong. You know.
That's interesting too, because I think it's kind of like a cycle. And it's like now like the youth, like the younger people or whatever, starting to like give back more a little bit, and like even like the like 20-year-olds too, they're like starting to go back to like traditional roots. Like there's people always like, oh, it's like the dating culture, you know, gotta date, get your high body count or whatever. But I feel like now people are like, nah, dude, you gotta date to marry. You gotta go back to those like traditional roots, like how we're actually brought up, and that's why we are the way we are.
Yeah, and like I said, it's something I've been seeing lately, and it's making me happy. You know, it's making me happy to see that, and I hope more like those youth who think that way, that, you know, I don't need to do that. They wake up and they're like, you know. And I'm not saying go out and like community service every day, you know. You know, just go out there one day, you know, you're walking by, pick up a piece of trash, you know, that's
simple.
Something.
It's simple like that, yeah.
I'm not saying you have to go hardcore, you know. It's just, you know, you're walking, you know,
you
see a random person.
You don't have to go build a school in Africa or anything.
Yeah, no, like you see a random person like, oh, have a good day. Like, you know, that could change someone's day, you know. And that's something we don't think about.
Do you think it's something we don't think about? Like, I'm just thinking, like, as a little kid, like, something that we don't think about or something that we don't see, like, say, our parents. Because, like you say, you kind of have to lead by example. So it's like, if you're over here and no one's really doing it, you're just like, eh. But then if you're a kid and then your parents are like, hey, you know, they're picking up that piece of trash. They're saying hi to the people. They're helping out, you know, other people. Do you think that can have an effect on how it is too?
Yeah, totally. I think it's what we see as well. Like you mentioned, you know, you have to lead by example. You know, if let's say your parents just like, if they walk by and then they see a random person, like, you know, get the fuck out of my way, you know. Are you gonna expect a kid to say, "Oh, have a nice day" after? No, like you didn't say, "My dad did that, my mom did that." You know, it's okay. It's normal. You know, it's normal. there's a whole bunch of trash, let's say someone says, just leave it there, that's the city's job. They're going to grow up with that mentality that that's not my job. So it's something that we don't see. It's something that we,
Especially because kids are just sponges.
Yeah.
When they're little, they just absorb everything. They'll see what this person's doing, what this person's doing. And I feel like when you're younger, you can kind of see, what people are doing and kind of oh, I don't like what this person's doing. Let me just follow more of what this other person's doing, too.
Yeah.
So going back a little bit back to, your coaching stuff, because that's what fascinates me. I like the little kids going through the grind. So, say there's kids... Because, I'm pretty sure it's pricey, say they want to be part of the competitive. Mm-hmm. What if kids want to be part of the competitive and they don't have, money? Is it just...
Yeah, that's a problem we're seeing. And I'll get a little bit more into that. But, if they don't have the money, I've talked to the director of the club, and he's like, just talk to us. Don't be scared to talk to us, There's other solutions, there's scholarship opportunities. There's ways you could make that money, We have I forgot the business, but the business actually, if you register with them, they give you a percentage of the money that they make, and you can make money as a kid and make it go towards your club funds, but they work with you. All they ask is for you to talk to them, and that's something we're seeing right now. Because we took a clinic to Bella Romero, which that's the Hispanic side of Greeley, and we're let's just give them a free clinic, and trying to see if they know about us. We went, and a lot of the parents said, yeah, we really were interested, but some were I lost my job, I don't have the funds to pay for that, and we're just come talk to us. We'll find out a solution. We're there to help you.
So as long as people want to do it, you guys be able to work with them.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not in charge of the costs and everything and getting the money and everything, but I've talked to the director, and he said just talk to us, and there's opportunities for you to make some money and put it towards your club cost.
So that club mainly just you guys are just to Greeley? Or is it how far do you guys go travel wise?
Our games, we go into Boulder, we go into Denver,
okay.
Loveland. Yeah, we go out. The players in our club, we have a lot. We have the majority from Greeley, Windsor, Severance. We have a few from Fort Morgan actually, just because we don't have a competitive club here, so they go over there. So yeah, we go outside of Greeley to play.
So I'm just curious how you still ended up back here in Greeley, because you said you're in Indiana and you were loving it. So then why'd you come back if you were loving it and it was great?
Yeah, and it was one of the hardest decisions I had to make in my life. And it was during the spring break, and I was like, all right, next year I'm gonna come back. But like I mentioned before, it was junior year of high school where I wanted to coach, and I went to Indiana. I was like, I'm going to find a coaching opportunity over here. Maybe refereeing. I also refereed for a time. And I found a club. But the soccer club, it was not a competitive club. They told me, all right, you're hired, obviously, but you have to sing to the kids, while playing soccer. And I was
you have to sing to the kids?
Yeah. And I was like,
what the fuck?
Okay.
What do you gotta sing to them?
Okay, and I was like, you have to sing the drills to them. They're little kids. You're not gonna make them run at all. Also another thing, and there's go score a goal, pass the ball. I was
so the song. So you were a coach then,
yeah.
So you coached them there, since you know the songs and.
Well, no, because I lasted a week where I was I went to practice, and to be honest, I didn't sing. I was I'm going to show you the drills, and you had to be and I'm not saying that's bad, but that's just not my type of coaching. So I was I don't feel comfortable here. I don't feel this is what I want to do. So I was sorry, I'm out of here.
How old were the kids?
They were the same age. They're 9.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, and I'm these kids aren't learning, and I mean, if they're going to learn like this, maybe I'm just not to get time to sing. Maybe my singing skills aren't gonna make them learn. So I'm like, I'm out of here. And I couldn't find any other club to coach. Like, they required experience. Even with refereeing, I was like, at least I'm a referee. And they're like, oh, it's because your license, your referee license is in Colorado. So you're going to have to put that away, you know, apply again with Indiana. And there's going to be a process. And I'm just like, you're asking way too much. So I was like, it was the point where I was like, all right, I really want to coach. I really want to. So I was like, I'm going to transfer back to Colorado. And that decision was, like I said, was one of the hardest because I was like, I really like it here. But at the same time, I feel like I'm not fulfilling all my goals. So I was like, I'm going back to Colorado. And greatly, I found, obviously, the Colorado Rapids is one of the big clubs, youth clubs. So I was like, that was an option as well. But then I also had to look at my academics. You know, like, if I'm going to do the Colorado Rapids, where am I going to go to school? You know, am I going to have to travel a lot? So I was like, you know, this Northern Colorado Rush soccer club's in Greeley. There's the University of Northern Colorado. And they have a really good business program. I'm going to just go there, you know, and coach on the sides. So that's what made me want to come to Colorado, you know, to coach and to be close to family, too.
So what are you studying at college?
I'm studying business management.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So is it kind of like you're doing coaching kind of now for now and until you get that going? Do you think it's going to be something you want to like carry on and continue?
No, it's something I want to carry on and continue to do. I want to coach high school soccer. I want to coach high school, and if I could coach college soccer, that'd be great as well. One of my goals is to come back to Fort Morgan and coach the high school team here. You know, the program that I played in, the program that gave me so much. You know, that's one of my goals, to come back here and coach them and take them to a state championship.
So Uncle, he's gonna take your job, Uncle. He's coming for you. So I'm just wondering, like, you were talking about the age stuff. Did he have any of that people, like the parents and stuff, like where you're a coach now, be like, hey, this guy is too young. Does he even know what he's doing? Did he have that kind of come at you or no?
I didn't hear anything, but I saw it in their faces. The first team meeting, obviously they didn't know who the coach was because it was my first year coaching, and most of them was their first year joining the club. So I showed up and I was like, oh, I'm your coach. You know, I was like, oh, I'm a sophomore at college, and they're like, oh, nice to meet you. Like, they didn't express anything, but I could see in their face they're like, you know, he's a little bit too, he's young. Like,
you can tell, like, God damn, this guy.
He's young, but I didn't let that stop me. You know, I'm here for a reason, and if I couldn't, and if I'm not able to do it, I wouldn't be here. Yeah.
And how was that, like? So what did you do? Are you in your second season? Starting your second season?
Yeah, this is my second season.
How did your first season go?
My first season, the start of my first season is I scheduled a scrimmage, a fun scrimmage before our actual season. We lost 9-1, you know, and I went in thinking I want to make this team the best. I want to win all the games. You know, I don't want them to suck. You know what I mean? That's the mentality I went in with. We lost 9-1. You know, at the end of that game, I was like, crap, like,
fuck, here we go.
You're pissed.
Oh my God. I was mad, and I was like, this is how the season is going to go. Like, we're going to lose all the games. You know, I'm a horrible coach. You know, I can't, you know, the 9-0, 9-1, like, that's horrible, you know. But as the season started to go, I was just starting, like, my mentality is going to affect them. You know, as a coach, if I think like that, they're going to think like that. You know, if I go to practice, like, you know, we already lost the rest of the season. You know, just do whatever you want. Like, that's what they're going to do, and they're going to be like, you know, coach said this, let's do this. You know, but I started scheduling more scrimmages with the same teams in the club. We lost every single one. And I was like, maybe it's me.
What were the parents saying?
The parents were like, they were kind of mad too. They're like, you know, like, you know, what's wrong, you know? But at the same time, they're like, you know, it's like they're having fun, I guess.
The more parents start showing up to the practices to see if you're actually coaching them.
Yeah. They're all at practice. All the season, they would just sit down and watch me coach. But I changed my mentality. I was like, you know, I might be the one that's causing this. So I'm like, I'm going to get to know my players. Because that first week, I would confuse my players. I would call someone a name that wasn't their name. Like, I didn't really know my players. So I was like, maybe that's the problem. And that's one of the main reasons that, they're like, I don't want to be here maybe. So then it was a practice after a scrimmage where I was like, oh, hey, guys, like, give me knuckles. Like, how was school today? They looked at me and they're like, inside of them, they're probably like, why is he asking me how school was? We're at soccer. I was like, oh, do you have fun? What did you do at recess? Do you guys have a lot of homework? And I started calling them their names. I practiced their names. I was like, oh, what's up? What's up? What's up? And then, like, they just smiled. They just smiled. And I know they felt like, Coach knows my name. He actually cares about me. He wants to get to know me. And in practice, I made it a little bit more fun, I made it more, like, less drilly, like, like to get in the line and dribble. Just, we're going to dribble, but we're going to make it a little bit fun, at your age. And they started, like, they started being happy. We had our first game. We won our first game. And that was one of the best feelings, the kids were, like, surprised. They're like, Coach, we won. And the first thing they said was, Coach, we did it. And I'm like, it was just...
How did that make you feel?
It made me feel really good. It made me feel like I actually achieved something, Like, the mentality I had in the beginning was we're going to lose all the games. But all it took was for me to change my mentality, getting to know my players, making them feel comfortable with me. And they did what they were supposed to do. They played the first game was one of the best games they played. Even the parents came up and they're like, Coach, what happened? Like, what did you tell them? Like, what did you do at practice that we missed? Like, they passed good, they shot good, they dribbled good. Like, what happened? And we're like, the kids had it. They just had to, like, go out there and actually do it. They were scared at the beginning. They might have been like, oh, Coach is mad. I don't want to do this because if I do it, Coach is going to get mad. But I started to open up to them and be like, it's okay. Like, you mess up, come back up, try it again. I'm not going to yell at you. Do what you need to do. If you mess up, give it another chance. And they started to feel like, okay, like, if I mess up, there's no problem, I'll just try again. And they would do that, and they would succeed in it.
That's pretty important though, because you're like able to adjust like on the fly pretty much. Because we're talking about it earlier. Because there's some coaches that just make you hate the fucking sport. Yeah. And there's some coaches that make you fall in love with the sport.
Yeah, and that's a big thing with youth sports, and that's why I say, like, a coach, especially in youth, the kids don't know what they want to do at that point. Maybe they're there because their parents forced them. Maybe they're there because their dad plays soccer or something. And this is like overall any coach, any sport. I was getting certified through a class, and it was with other coaches as well in other sports. I had coaches from baseball, coaches from football, basketball with disabilities, and one of the coaches said, yeah, my kid joined a competitive club, and that coach, he didn't even know their names. The coach, like, go run. And I was saying running's bad.
Blue shorts, go.
Yeah, like, you go, like, you number 3 or whatever, go run. And like you're not listening to me, like, yelling at them, like,
freak out.
Yeah, freak out. And then they're like, my kid came back home that day, and I was like, Mom, I don't want to do baseball anymore. And they're like, you went to practice saying you love baseball, and now you're coming back saying you don't want to do it and that you hate it. He's like, yeah, I don't like baseball anymore. I hate it. And the mom's obviously like, moms know everything. You don't need to tell them. They know. They're like, something wrong, something happened in practice. So the next practice, she said she went and she saw the coach being like all mean to them and like don't actually care, and all the kids were scared. And the mom's like, all right, like, let's go to another one. He put him into another baseball club, and that coach was so different. Like, he got to know them. Like, what are you interested in outside of baseball? Like, what are your hobbies? And like, like, it's okay, like, more a different coach. And he came back that day. He's like, Mom, I love baseball. And the mom was like, well, you didn't hate baseball. The coach just made it super hard on you. And
you hated the coach, not that sport.
And that's why I was like, I want to be that type of coach. Like, I want them to fall in love with the sport and not hate it,
Because that can even happen, like, at higher levels. Because I knew a buddy, like, we played basketball together. And one year, we just had, like, this coach, and he was like, dude, I fucking hate basketball. I'm only doing it just because I'm already signed up and all that. But then he hated it. He was, like, the next year we had a brand new coach. He was like, I don't know if I should go out again or not. But he ended up going out. He was like, at the end of the season, he thanked the coach. He was like almost in tears. He's like, thank you, because you made me fall in love with the sport again. because I hated it before.
Yeah, and like I said, I have players at the beginning. They're like, Coach Javi, Coach Javi, Coach Javi. Right now at the season, they're like, Coach Javi, could I call you Javi? Just Javi? I'm like, yes. Like, call me Javi. You know, and that makes me feel good. You know, because they're comfortable. You know, they're like, I could call you Javi because, you know, a coach is way more than a coach. You know, you become that kid's role model. You become, you know, his inspiration. You know, you motivate him. And, you know, when you see that, you know, I don't want to call you coach anymore, but when you call you Javi, it's still a sign of respect. There's some coaches like, no, call me coach, call me coach. But I'm different. I'm like, call me Javi. I take that, like, you're comfortable around me, you know, and you actually like being around me. You like what I do, and you think I'm doing a good job as a coach.
How much time goes into coaching? Because you're saying, like, oh, I had to, like, learn all their names and stuff. I feel like that takes a couple hours before practice, after practice, game plans, coaches meetings, all that stuff. Yeah,
it takes a lot of time, you know, and even with youth sports, you know, I went in thinking, you know, it's youth sports, you just go in 1 hour practice, and a game, but you go home and do what you need to do. Like, nah. Like, we had to do parent meetings. I had to go to practice. I had to plan out practices. Like I need to plan out practice because maybe they say they're going to go, but maybe only 4 goes. I need to have a plan B. So before that, I need to make a plan. And even after practice, like, getting to know their names, like you said, you know, like those game plans, like, wait, what was his name again? What was he wearing? You know, combine those. And then games, you know, games was just not like a 10-minute drive. You know, I had to wake up really early sometimes, my Saturday mornings. You know, we had games at 8 in Denver. I had to wake up like at 6 to get ready. You know, even after, you know, the drive back, you know, what did I do good in the game? What did they do good? You know, just evaluate the game, practice, work on what we did wrong. It takes a lot of time. And especially since I opened up an extra practice. Like, we practiced Tuesdays and Thursdays, but I was like, I'm going to open up my Friday evenings in case a player wants to come and do some extra work. And it's optional, but I'm going to be at the park just waiting for players to come. You know, you want to learn how to do something, like, I'll help you. Condition, I'll help you. And I even told them, like, if you guys want to do one-on-one trainings with me, just send me a text. If I'm free, I'll go to the park and do it. So it's very busy.
Do, like, a lot of players end up going to that extra Friday practice?
I had like 4 or 5. Yeah, not all of them. I did have some players who were interested in the 1v1s, so I had to take some of my time out of my day to go to the park and do some 1v1s with the players. Out of, like, not the club, like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not required to do that, but I just decided to do that.
How does, like, that time compare with, like, the time you do, like, in rec leagues?
Yeah, rec league was just going to practice, going home.
Literally just showing up for practice, going home, and then
the game. No game plans, no anything. You know,
just go out there and have fun.
I don't care if you win or lose.
Yeah,
just go. No, that's
is like your team, is it like mixed, or is it just like all guys or all girls, or is it mixed?
It's all guys.
It's all guys. What do you think about, like, what's going on now with, like, the guys who want to go play with girls, and they like label themselves as, like, oh, I'm transgender, so, like, I'm a girl, so, like, I can go play with the girls and stuff. Do you think that's, like, a little unfair because they are still, like, biologically a guy? They still have, like, the power of a guy. They're just, like, labeling themselves as a girl.
Yeah, you know, and with sports, you know, and I don't know if I'm gonna get canceled, but with sports, I just feel like, you know, you're a guy, you know, go play some, you know, and I'm not saying girls can't play guy sports, you know. There's some girls who play, like, even soccer, they play really good, maybe even better than guys, you know, but, like you're saying trans, like, you know, I think it's pretty unfair, you know, like, you can't, you know what I mean? Like, I don't even know what to say. It's just, like, when was that last, I forgot her name, but she kept winning, or she kept losing, and in a guy sport, and it was just like, I think it's unfair, you know?
Yeah, it reminds me of, like, Leah Thomas, like, the swimmer, like, and the swimming kept fucking losing, but then, like, oh, I'm a girl now, all of a sudden winning fucking first place and everything.
Yeah.
I think it's just straight up unfair. It's like,
yeah,
if you actually feel that way, cool, but then you can't expect to just automatically be able to transition to women's sports because you still got the biology of a guy. I think that's just so unfair.
Yeah, even if you consider yourself a different gender, you know, like you said, you still have those characteristics, and yeah, I think it's unfair. It's unfair, and it's a problem that's been going on during these days, and I don't know.
Is there any like solution to it?
I don't know. I think the best solution is, it's pretty obvious. Just you're a girl, go play with,
Mm-hmm.
I think it's pretty obvious.
Yeah, no, that's the interesting one. But is there stuff like that, really like woke stuff, like that age, like small kids, or not? You haven't seen shit?
I haven't seen anything like that at that age. I haven't seen anything like that.
Does like the league like talk to you guys about it or anything, just to be like on the lookout, or is it just like non-existent pretty much?
No, like all the teams in the club is separated into, there are like guy teams and then there's girl teams, but we don't have any co-ed teams.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, there's rec teams that do have co-ed, and I'm saying there's nothing bad, but if you're gonna play with, let's say if there's girls playing with the guys, there's gonna be tougher. So you need to like.
Mm-hmm. I think it just becomes more of a problem like as like people get older, like high school age, college, and professionals. Like that's when it gets like iffy. For me, because like especially like in like contact sports, like you could like really like hurt someone. Like if you like really like go and try and slide tackle someone, you can like break their leg if you don't do it right, or if you're just being way too aggressive or something.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that.
No, that's great. So, my bad, sorry. So I mean, if like parents, they want to get involved or like sign their kids up, or I don't know if you guys have your team set already. Like how could people reach you?
Yeah, so you can reach us through our website. It's Northern Colorado Rush Soccer Club. It's in Greeley. You just search that up. It'll take you to our website. In our website, you could register, and there's a whole bunch of information, the cost, and just give them a call. The people at the office are really great people. They love the sport. They love helping, and they're gonna help you through it. And yeah, right now like I said, we're already starting our season, so maybe there's still some spots. I know with my team we're full, but I don't know about the other teams. But just give a call for next season, And in the summer we're having a whole bunch of soccer clinics, soccer camps, and yeah.
Okay. So like, if they want to contact Coach Javi for some one-on-one trainings, do you offer any of that, or how do they contact you for that?
Yeah, I'm very open. Like I said, I'm obviously a college student, but if I have time, but if someone wants to just kick a ball around, do a little bit of drills, you could contact me via text or just call me. You could call me at 970-747-8834, or you could send me a quick email. It's lomelijavi09@gmail.com.
Cool. Or you're on social media.
Yeah, I'm on social media. I'm on Facebook as Javi Lomeli. And yeah, in my Instagram, Javi Lomeli 503. Just send me a message and we'll get stuff going. And if maybe I can't do it, I'll give you more resources. I'll send you to someone.
No, that's great. I mean, appreciate it for coming on. The stuff you're doing for kids, I think, is necessary, to get the kids involved, get them moving, and especially with the discipline that kids need to be doing. But
and also just giving back to the community. I feel like we need to emphasize that, get more of the kids involved, more of the parents involved, so they can get their kids involved too. And it's pretty cool what you're doing, honestly.
Yeah, and I'm happy about it. And like I said, I'm gonna continue on doing it until I can't anymore. And that's the advice I give to other people. Go out there and do something.
No, that's great.
Dude, I appreciate you coming out here. Honestly.
Thank you guys so much for having me. It's my pleasure to be out here, and like I said, hope someone can learn something from today. And
oh yeah, they'll have to go rewatch this one a couple times, because there's a couple nuggets in there that people need to listen to for sure.
Yeah, but we'll put all your like links down in the description so people can find you and click on you and stuff like that. But yeah, dude, thanks again for coming out here. It's honestly just fun like listening to all this stuff. But guys, if you guys like Javi, our special guest for today, make sure to give this video a thumbs up and share it around with other people who might be like interested in knowing a little bit more about youth sports or how they can get involved and stuff like that. But yeah, guys, if you guys like them, you guys like more of our videos, give this video a thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe to the channel, that way you can be notified every single time we got a new episode going live. And with that, guys, I'll just leave you with our motto here on the podcast, that an act of rebellion is to question.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Underrated, we the underdogs, underestimated.